Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 35 of Pelo Buddy TV. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, John Pruitt, better known as Kenny Banya. Hello,
Hey.
John.
Hey now, Amanda. How are you?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, things are good. Can't complain.
Been a busy week. It has been another busy week with a milestone ride this week for me, John. A questionable milestone ride, but a milestone ride, needless to say. And you have to follow me on social media in order to determine what I'm talking about, right?
Everyone counts. Everyone counts.
Every ride counts.
You do you.
Exactly, right? But you know what, John? I think what this week taught me yet again is just how incredible this community truly is. And the Peloton community is amazing. So the way that folks just are there for one another, or at least I've been fortunate enough. I've been fortunate enough to have surrounded myself. Remember, I'm a huge Leanne Hainsby Yes to You crewer, and it's all about that sparkly fitness bubble. So nobody's going to burst it. Nobody's going to burst that sparkly fitness bubble. But yeah, it was a fun week. I tackled some new and different types of things on the bike, which I'll talk about in the picks of the week. Don't want to give away any spoilers. But I do have to thank my buddy Tony Sinkinson in the UK, Cinco, for continuing to push me. And when I messaged early on Monday morning and said, I'm ready, he was right there to do my first Tabata with me. So it was a fun week. Yeah, a fun week. But otherwise, just kind of plodding along and keeping up with all the Peloton news. There's lots of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, John, as I say each week before we always get started with the news, we do like to remind folks how to keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. All our episodes are released on YouTube, so folks can just go ahead and hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand corner and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
And if you prefer to listen to us in traditional podcast format, we're on all podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV, click subscribe, set up notifications so you never miss an episode. And also feel free to leave us a review. We love reviews, especially good ones.
Yeah, and you know what, John? We actually got a really nice one this week. I'm going to go ahead and read it because she took the time to put it out there. So why not let her get the credit for it? But we got a 5-star review from Mia177. She said, amazing podcast. I've just recently started listening to the podcast and I'm hooked. Amanda and John are such great hosts. Thank you. And they provide all the latest Peloton news, plus their own thoughts on recent rides and collaborations. Would 100% recommend if you own a Peloton. So it was certainly lovely to get that. And thank you so much, Mia177, for taking the time to do a review. We also got some others which did say that the episodes were a little bit long. So we're going to try this week to be a little bit more to the point and get the stories out there so that you guys get what you need to hear. But unfortunately with you and me, John, it's a little hard, right? Well, I know with me. I mean, I just love to talk. And
I know, you're just like, nah.
You know what? When you're so passionate about something. Maybe Chris will cut that out. But you know what? When you're so passionate about something and you love it so much, you can't help but just exude tons of energy. And I love being able to share all the latest stuff that's happening in the Peloton world.
Same here.
Yeah, yeah. So, folks, we are also on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, just search Pelo Buddy and follow and like us on those platforms so that you don't ever get to miss an episode. And truly, what we try and do here on the show is take those stories that get reported during the week and just add some fluff and fancy to them and share a little bit more that we know. And some folks miss the stories that get posted. So it's a way of us sharing that information with you. Yes, with that being said, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
So, I guess I am kicking it off this week, huh?
You are, John. You are, and it's a big kickoff that you've got the honor of doing.
I know. A lot of juicy details just rolled out about Peloton Homecoming 2021. And for a lot of the new members who have no idea what Homecoming is, it originally started as an event that members put together to meet in the city for a weekend every spring. And Peloton eventually took it over. It became HRI, which was Home Rider Invasion. And then it evolved in 2019 to what it is now, to Homecoming. And it's an annual celebration of the Peloton community that all the members, would go to in New York. They'd have all these different events, a big party, meet and greets, keynote addresses. This year, it's completely virtual, but Peloton just put out a whole bunch of details on some of the different events. The class schedule is going to be announced soon. It's the weekend of April 30th through May 2nd. But I was just reading some of the big events. There's a keynote address with the CEO and co-founder John Foley. There's a community chat with Ally Love and music artist Usher. There's some community chat scheduled, just to name a couple, with Alex, with German instructors Irene Schultz and Cliff Dwanger. Another one, I believe, with Christine. There's a whole, but we'll have the link to Peloton's website. And you can RSVP. There's also a section where you can submit photos for a huge, montage, photo collage that they're putting together of all the different Peloton members that submit pictures. Anything else that sticks out that you noticed, Amanda?
I think it's it's just, again, I think we're all kind of sad that we're not yet at the point where we could be doing it in person, right? But with folks all over the world, it gives everyone an opportunity to be a part of it, which I love, that it's not just, kind of the States or folks coming in from, having to fly in for it. It's an opportunity for everybody to participate, and I'm sure they'll do
involved.
Yeah, for everyone to be involved. I think the way that I understood it and the email that we all got was for you to kind of sign up for what you'd like to do. I doubt that they'll exclude anybody, but I think you'll pop up with a reminder. What I would love to have seen, I don't know if they'll end up doing that, is populating whatever we signed up for into our schedule. That would have been really cool. You know how your schedule, if you put in what you want to ride, and it shows up, on the app, that would have been really cool. It would have been really
nice
cool if we were able to
have that integration.
Yeah. But there's tons that, we'll be able to do. Some of those, as you mentioned, with Irene and Chris, will be in German. So I didn't sign up for those, but I pretty much signed up for everything that was of interest to me, and did get an email back to say thank you for signing up. So make sure you guys head over to Pelo Buddy or to One Peloton and take a look through everything and get to sign up. And then they did have... which I thought was a little disappointing, John, was the homecoming drop. Do you think they'll come up with anything else?
I don't know. It seemed kind of pretty small release there. I was hoping there'd be at least a T-shirt or, along those lines.
Just a hat. What was it? It was a hat, a water bottle, and a towel.
Towels,
I guess.
yeah.
Yeah. I was disappointed. I know folks were asking, and I had seen on Pelo Buddy's Insta page and Facebook page whether there'll be a warehouse sale. Do you want to go ahead and tell folks what that means? You know better than I do.
So I only went to Homecoming once in 2019, and that weekend near near the studio, they had some big warehouse location where it was basically rock bottom apparel prices, over 50% or more off. I didn't actually go to it.
Okay.
But Saturday and Sunday, depending on if you had a Saturday or Sunday bracelet, they had two separate day tickets for different events that you could go to. You could scoop up all this different apparel that was really, marked down, probably more so than Black Friday.
Got it.
Yeah, so I would think they'd have something like that. I would hope.
Yeah, what was interesting,
nice.
I did notice that there is still merchandise on the website. Usually that the apparel just, absolutely disappears when it gets dropped. But as I said, we spoke about in the last apparel drop, I do think that they definitely have heard members and are giving folks more opportunity to purchase and not having to feel that you have to jump on, at 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning when the apparel drops. So there's definitely still stuff on there. I guess we'll wait and see whether there'll be a sale of whatever's left there, before they hit the summer stuff.
And we did have a very tiny apparel drop just this past week labeled the Be Bold collection. Rebecca Kennedy was one of the featured models of that. And it was just a few pieces, it looked like.
I missed that.
That I
nice.
saw.
I'll have to go back and take a look at that. I missed that.
A lot of pastel, sort of springy
kind of like
colors.
Because this I got from the new spring apparel drop. Different stuff?
Some teal, a couple tops. Yeah,
nice.
Look like a pretty small drop.
I'll definitely go and have a look at that. Yeah, I got this. This just came this week, and I love it. It's kind of a cropped, just light spring sweater, so comfy. So I had gotten a couple things from the last drop. So I guess We'll see. But definitely stay tuned to Pelo Buddy, because that we will be populating those Instagram and Facebook pages with everything as soon as we hear it, as far as Homecoming, and keep you guys up to date with everything. So definitely make sure that you keep up to date. Yeah, John, so a pretty exciting announcement was actually made by Peloton this week too, as they unveiled a new program called the Champions Collection. It looks like it's going to be launched in May, and it's going to be a collaboration of 9 different pro athletes. The athletes named are Usain Bolt, Allyson Felix, John Florence, Scout Bassett, Kathleen Baker, Andre DeGrasse, Angelique Kerber, and Becky and Ellie Downey. What we do know is that Usain, Allyson, and Scout are actually going to be on a panel with Bex Gentry for Homecoming. The panel is called Legends Live Training for Excellence. So we'll get to be introduced to them in 2 weeks and get to hear, I guess, what's going to be upcoming and what they're going to be doing coming May. So that's really exciting. I know that they do use different platforms. Some of them are on the bike, some of them are bike and tread, some of them just use the app, but they are actually members just like you and I in the Peloton community. And what Peloton has done is basically encourage them to now come forward in helping members and creating that level of competition, etc. On the leaderboard. So it's always fun when we see somebody pop up. I know that I've ridden tons of times with Roger Federer, and it's always fun to see him on there. I know a ton of the golfers are on there. So these were folks that I hadn't known were on the on the leaderboard, but it'll be fun to see how the collaboration works.
Very cool. Yeah, I know when we were on, what was it, the Leanne ride the other day?
Yep.
Federer, apparently this is Roger Federer. He jumped on, but then he boned out of there after 5 minutes. He got bored.
No, he saw you were on there, John, and he goes, I know I can't compete with Kenny Bania. I got to get off now. I don't want to embarrass myself.
It was probably just his intern riding on the wrong profile again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting too. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's so many cool celebrity, athlete, music artist collaborations that week, homecoming weekend. It's going to be tough to keep up with all that.
I know. It's going to be a fun weekend. What's next?
Well, in other major news, so last summer, Peloton had announced the Pledge, which is a $100 million investment that the company made to fight against racial injustice and inequity and the promotion of health and well-being for all. So this past Friday, Peloton announced their pilot portfolio, which in the US, UK, and Germany, and Canada, they're partnering with a number of different organizations. In the US, just to name a couple organizations, NordicTrack, the Center for Anti-Racist Research and Local Initiatives Support Corporation. In Canada, the TAIBU Community Health Center, and in Germany, the International Psychosocial Organization. And through these partnerships, they say, we hope to empower individuals experiencing systemic inequities through physical and mental well-being to be the best versions of themselves. And they continue on saying each of these partners has created a tangible impact, touching thousands of lives with their work, breaking down systemic barriers to health and wellness. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of collaborations they do with these companies to advance this, this major initiative and this huge financial investment that they're putting into this.
Amazing. I mean, I've always said that I think it's just fantastic how they constantly give back to the community and look for ways to be inclusive and incorporate. So yet another amazing accomplishment of management at Peloton, for sure. Yeah, so John, switching gears just a little bit, I think we at Pelo Buddy are spilling the beans again. Another rumor. It seems that there is another new instructor rumor. Kirsten Ferguson, she is a mom of two and a former cycling instructor at Queen K Studio, and it looks like she could be a potential new coach based here in the US. We're not 100% sure yet what she'll be doing on the platform, but Kirsten's background is in cycling. She also has teased boxing. So there comes that boxing thing again, John. She's definitely done boxing, and it's something that potentially, she could be on that platform if we do ultimately see boxing being launched. She had alluded on her social media that she was going to be encountering a new challenge, and clearly this was probably going to be it, working for Peloton. And certainly starting out in a pandemic could not have been easy. We know with Bradley it was somewhat challenging, getting started, and we spoke about that last week. But she did say that this was kind of a new challenge for her. Interestingly enough, though, she is not new to the Peloton family. She's actually been riding personally for over a year. And she had actually invited folks on her social media to ride with her on the leaderboard. So, almost a year ago. So I think she has, a pretty decent presence on social media, and has, definitely encouraged folks along the way. But there is some hints and stuff out there that she could potentially be next. So maybe we'll get confirmation at Homecoming, right? And certainly with the other coaches that we've mentioned. So we're all waiting with bated breath to see who's up next.
Is that a heard it here first? Did we first break that little rumor?
That's a heard it here first. That's
Nice.
a heard it. She's gorgeous. She's really gorgeous. I don't know if you've taken a look on her Instagram page, but she looks fun, and is definitely following some of the coaches. So it's kind of pointing in the right direction. But that'll be fun to have somebody else new on the platform.
Very exciting. Well, in other news, we have an update on the GymKit removal for bootcamp classes. So over the past week, it seems Peloton has made the decision to fully disable their Apple Watch integration, also known as GymKit, for Peloton's Bike Bootcamp classes on the Bike Plus. So officially, Peloton has been saying that the GymKit Apple Watch integration, it doesn't work for the Bike Bootcamps for at least more than a month, because the dedicated support page for GymKit on Peloton support site is noted support is for cycling only. And it goes on to state, please note this feature is available in cycling classes only, not currently available for Bike Bootcamp. So what what has happened since then, it seems the feature, the Apple Watch integration, has been totally disabled on Bike Bootcamp classes. And we've also received update from Peloton. They issued a second follow-up statement, which was on the Verge, for the Verge website, which is basically, it's possible to add the feature, but Apple's terms of service don't currently allow it to be used for any workout types not 100% completed on certain types of hardware. So since Bike Bootcamps have portions of the workout that are not done on the bike, it isn't allowed. So Apple GymKit is designed to work with equipment-based cardio workouts, but Peloton recently implemented GymKit with Bike Bootcamp, which is multidisciplinary. So it combines strength and cardio, which is a feature not supported. So apparently members can still use their, I don't know if you've noticed this on you have an Apple Watch, right, Amanda? So members can still use the GymKit to sync their cycling only workouts to their Apple Watch from the Bike Plus, but apparently it's not going to be enabled. It won't track your metrics when you're in bootcamp classes. So yes, I don't know if you've noticed.
So I'm not a, I'm not a big bootcamp, but it is still obviously doing it on the cycling, and I do use it all the time. I have to say, it's a feature that I really, really like. So I'd be curious to see how they're going to, get around that. It seems silly that it, something that could be available wouldn't be, available for that. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, John. So actually this week we also saw an update to the Peloton app to share stories to Instagram, which I have been using feverishly.
We're all about those stories.
I love my stories. But I have to tell you, it's been labeled a limited time beta. So I guess we'll see how long it lasts and whether it actually does in fact stick around. But it is a really fun way of sharing one's workout. So in the past, for folks, if you're unfamiliar, if you shared your workout, it showed the instructor. It would kind of move over to Instagram with the instructor and
show
some
your
of your
stats
in the corner, exactly, in the corner, and your leaderboard name. So this now is just a small little box which gives you your output, it gives you what ride number you were on and your distance, and then obviously it tells you what ride or run or whatever medium you used, whatever platform you used, and you can then incorporate your own picture or video or message in there. And there are two different ways of being able to do it. And it's actually really nice. I like it. Huh. I really like it. It does also show, so you can basically upload a selfie or a video or a picture from your phone, from your photo library, from your phone. But what it also does is it acknowledges if you've hit a PB or a PR, a personal record. And it comes up with that, really cool little gold star. So I
like that.
I love that. I love that. So with this week, me hitting a new personal record, I was in fact able to do that. And I really liked it. I liked it. So just a different way of sharing. We'll see if it sticks around. I prefer it, as I said, to the other one, because the other one was pretty much the picture was stagnant and the stats would move. So you'd have to actually screen record it if you wanted to make it smaller and add your own pictures, to it.
I would have to load it into my stories and then save it to my camera roll and then go back into Instagram and load a story from the camera roll. Yeah.
Exactly,
nice.
Exactly. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm enjoying it. I've been using it a lot this week and I really enjoy it. So folks, definitely try it out. And it's pretty easy to use, right from the app onto your phone. And it's the nice thing about it, this update, both iOS and Android got it at the same time. So I like the fact that was available, for both, which was great.
Cool. Well, and another little small update for Android users, not you and I, Amanda, but the other folk, like Chris Lewis. Peloton has now expanded the availability of the scheduling feature, which was rolled out initially back in February for the iOS app. So now on Android, you have the ability to schedule your on-demand classes. So you'll see them. There'll be a section to the left of live classes where you can see any classes on demand that you've wanted to add and schedule out. Same functionality as on iOS currently. Currently, though, there doesn't seem to be a way to see those scheduled classes that you do on the app on the bike or the tread. That can be only done from your phone. And there's also not true integration yet with seeing your scheduled classes on calendar apps as well, like Google Calendar, Outlook, iCal. But now the Android users have finally caught up with us.
Awesome.
Yeah. And also for our members in Germany and the UK, Sky Q, it appears, might be adding the Peloton app on a new platform soon. So for those unfamiliar, Sky Q is a TV and entertainment platform run by the British company Sky, and it services both the UK and Germany to a Peloton's markets. And people who have the Sky Q platform can download and install different apps like Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, much like Apple TV, Roku, Android Fire Stick, those other types of devices. So Sky has a page listing with some of their current apps available on Sky Q, and apparently Peloton is listed there or was listed there. So we could see that being added to their fitness category. Currently, there's just 2 fitness apps right now, Fit and Tastemade. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll definitely report any updates as they come about.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, it's not an episode if we don't mention a lawsuit, but we're going to make this one a very short little mention. We did have folks telling us that, the lawsuits are out there. They're not really that interesting.
Yeah, we don't care about who's suing who this week. Yeah.
But it is important. It is important to kind of just mention this one. It's another lawsuit. This time, it was not just pointed to Peloton, which was interesting. This time, Dish Network are actually suing not only Peloton, but Icon Health and Fitness, the NordicTrack makers, as well as Lululemon and their Mirror regarding video streaming. We don't have much to report at this point, and we'll certainly, let folks know once the case is closed, more information. But that did just happen this week, and we wanted to just let folks know about that. And then for all our yogi viewers and listeners, we know we have tons of them. We can only imagine how frustrated you guys have been over the last few weeks with no live or updated classes, with everything kind of been shut down on the yoga and meditation front over the last few weeks. But we have seen that there is going to be a new 2-for-1. Chelsea Jackson Roberts and Dennis Morton are going to be hosting a 45-minute 2-for-1 flow this coming Monday evening, April the 19th at 6 p.m. So those folks can all get their zen back. And I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. I'm sure both of them are fantastic. So I'm sure it's going to be wonderful.
Very cool. Well, in other competition news, we had our first week of the Ride to Greatness last Saturday. So I'm on team. So for anyone new to the Ride to Greatness, it's a best of 5 series. So the 2 teams, first team to win the 3 out of 5 potential races each week. It's a 20-minute ride with Alex leading the ride. They get bragging rights, or I don't know, special trophy, who knows. But it's a competition. It's fun. Yeah, a badge. So this first 2 weeks were practice rides. There were 30-minute rides each Saturday. And so last Saturday was the first round that counted. So the winner is determined by your overall average output of each team. So you have to add there's 2 tags depending on which team you're on. There's Team Activate, Team Validate, and you have to add one of those tags and put it as your primary tag. So it's the tag that appears below your leaderboard name when you were riding. Okay. So Team Activate lost by 4. We were trailing the entire time, but we were basically down by 2 or 3 points. We ended up losing 202 to 198. So
wow.
And it was fun because there was a plasma TV sort of off to the side, a big screen TV off to the side on a stand next to Alex, and he would point to the score here and there and give updates, so you could see it real time. It was cool. It was motivating that way. And there was a ton of heavy hitters, but I have to say on the leaderboard though, the first two people, number 1 and number 2 on the leaderboard, didn't have either team as their primary tag.
Oh,
so I don't know if they were just riding and they weren't really clued into what the competition was or anything. But folks, put in your primary tag if you're going to do that ride, especially on the day that it counts, because then your output won't help your team, and we're all in it together. So
question for you, John: Does it only count if you do the live ride on the Saturday? Or can one go back and do it later?
No, so you can do it on demand, but it's not going to count because right after the ride, Peloton, Alex announces the winner because he looks over at the screen and sees who won it. But then Peloton immediately updates their Insta with the official announcement that team validate got the win, and they put the score and everything there. But no, you have to be doing it live for it to count towards the score. But just this past Friday, Peloton announced the two captains. So for this first round, we had 2 different members that were designated captains of each team. And so Peloton on Friday announced 2 instructors, or 2 of our UK instructors are going to be the captains for the next 3 weeks. So Ben Aldis will be the captain of Validate, and Hannah Frankson will be the captain of my team, the team you want to join, Team Activate, if you aren't on a team yet. And so they'll be the captains leading up to the next round, which will be, I guess, in about 3 weeks, round 2, because I think we have two Saturdays. The next 2 Saturdays will be like practice, training classes.
Got it.
But yeah, it's fun. I mean,
and I'm curious,
it's a hard class.
Will the instructors do the practices, or does Alex do the practices?
So Alex is teaching it. He's on the bike in the studio, and obviously this class, Saturday's class will already have happened by the time this episode comes out. But I imagine that Hannah and Ben will be riding live, with us on the leaderboard from their home, from their apartments, out in London. But it's not too late to join. So if you haven't gotten on board yet, if you were away the last weekend, definitely get on board. It's a lot of fun. Do a warm up beforehand, because Alex, you're just going balls out the entire time. It's not like there's a recovery in there. There's no flat road really. You're just going. It's like a Jess King sweat steady, for 20 minutes. But if you like competition like I do, it's been a great challenge so far. So definitely get in on it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we had an article on Mashable titled "How Peloton and Its Instructors Became Saviors in a Hellish Year at Home," and it was kind of a fun read because a lot of different members were interviewed on basically how this past year, how they've been able to reconnect with fitness and getting in shape and connecting through the Peloton community in the instructors. This past year in the pandemic, most of the people interviewed, got their bikes right when quarantine began. So it was great to kind of see each person's point of view on what they've been doing this past year, not having that face-to-face interaction, not, getting to go to the studio, connecting with instructors on social media, and still making that connection virtually like we all have been doing this past year on all the different classes on the bike and tread and through all the various Insta Lives that a lot of the instructors do. So it was kind of fun to see everyone's take on it and see everyone's growth.
Amazing. I haven't had a chance to see the article, but I definitely want to go back and take a listen. Yeah, and lastly, John, Ally Love's been getting some big love this week. She was featured on NPR with host Peter Sagal, who John was certainly asking some rather funny questions. One was, do the instructors really ride at the same cadence and resistance that they're calling out? And according to Ally, yep, they do. I don't know, John.
You doubt that?
Maybe Ally does. Maybe Ally does. Maybe there are one or two others that do. I don't know. She did say, though, and that's why I'm saying it was kind of funny to hear. She did say, though, that sometimes when she's on the rides, and I do think Ally may put the effort in, and there's certainly other instructors that do go all out in the rides, no question. But she did say that sometimes she thinks to herself, what the hell was I thinking when I structured this ride? As she's like dying, on the bike as she's, giving the ride. But it was a really funny interview, and folks can certainly head over to Pelo Buddy for a link to hear it on NPR. And then, John, she was also featured this past week on Qualtrics's XM Work Different 2021. I've actually been fortunate enough to have attended the Qualtrics XM meeting out in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was quite an experience. What they did was, and for those of you that are unaware of what Qualtrics is, because I'm sure the international folks aren't, basically they provide a management software platform for businesses to measure employee and customer experiences. But they host this really, really big, I don't want to call it a symposium, but a 2-day extravaganza for nothing less. And last year's was cancelled and it was devastating. But I went to the one back in 2019, which was incredible. The keynote speakers were Oprah Winfrey and Barack Obama. This past year was and Richard Branson. This past year was supposed to have Ellen DeGeneres, Michelle Obama, and others, and they did have to cancel it, obviously, due to the pandemic. It was meant to be in March of last year. So what they did with this year is they did it kind of online, and they took different folks, out there that talked about how businesses had to change and how folks had to change, in the circumstances that we were all in this past year, and making employees still feel engaged, and making customers and members, etc., still feel engaged. And Ally went on to chat about how in this last year we kind of all had to learn how to pivot, right? She focused on how we had to learn to work on ourselves. We were suddenly faced with, for a lot of folks, just being being by themselves, and for others, just being in their very close-knit, family entities, and working internally on ourselves was something that Ally's always been a huge advocate for, and encourage people, to know who we are and who we want to be, basically. So, having more self-awareness is, again, something that she promotes so often. She did go on to say that we do all have to make time for ourselves. And we spoke about Christine mentioning that last work on her amazing ride that she did, about just really taking time for ourselves. I loved her response when she was asked about that, and I, did have the opportunity of listening to the entire interview, and hopefully folks can get to hear it too. But what her response when she was asked about how she felt that members have been known to worship her, she basically said that it was truly an honor, and that she really was humbled to be such an integral part in helping members through these unprecedented times. She spoke about how Peloton had just pivoted too, that, in a blink of an eye, we had classes being brought to us, into members' homes from the instructors' homes, right there. And she said it didn't always go smoothly. We all know that her first live ride was a disaster. She handled it with, such grace and dignity. But she said it was funny how she'd have kind of Andrew on the sidelines, basically there was a delay, so he would be on the phone watching for the ride to come up and kind of giving her the thumbs up that everything looked like it was going, according to plan. But she said it was just an unusual but very special time that she was able to bring folks into her home and give of herself. She also went on to say how Peloton and this incredible community knew that they weren't alone, that that people had each other, whether it was just a small icon on the leaderboard that you got to know, and how folks got to know each other's leaderboard names and then connected on social media, and an entire community came out of this pandemic through Peloton. And we've said it a million times, how they were there for us. She ended up just clarifying what bossing up means. We all know that she hosts the basics of bossing up. And she said that basically it just means that it is, a standard that she sets and establishes a tone. And lastly, that she's rooting for all of us. And even though she doesn't know our names and she doesn't know who we are other than that small icon on the leaderboard, she said she always genuinely wants members to be the best version of themselves. I love listening to her speak. I know that some folks will say she's preachy, and she didn't. In this particular interview, she was amazing. I just felt the way she answered the questions, it really brought a level of just humility, and I really enjoyed listening to her speak. So that was a lot of fun. So that pretty much wraps it up for the news. But before we end off, John, it's that time.
You want to go first with the class picks of the week?
First. I am going first this time.
All right, go for it.
So,
what do you got?
John, what have I got? So my picks of the week, and I have 3 this week. I do tend to be boring, and everybody knows that my rides are primarily with Leanne, and she has expanded her footprint on the platform. Her schedule changed, and her rides are much easier to do. She now has Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays at great times. Nothing early morning UK time, which is great, and she has Sundays. So I'm actually not going to start off with her. My first pick is going to be my Tabata ride with Ben Oldis. And I'm going to have to pause for a second and just double check as to the date of that ride, because I did not make a note of it. I know that it's going to pop up right here on the screen for all of you to take a look. But it was on the 10th of March. So it was not a recent ride, and there wasn't a Tabata, unfortunately, last week that I was able to do, but I did it, John, and I was so unbelievably proud of myself. I had messaged Tony Sinkinson in the morning. It was Monday morning, and I said, all right, my friend, I'm ready to conquer this and tackle it. And you know what, folks? Surprise yourself. Honestly, go out there and surprise yourself, because I did. In all this time that I've been riding with Peloton, I had yet to have done a Tabata, because it just seemed so ominous and so scary, and I was incredibly anxious.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
And it wasn't that bad. Not only wasn't it that bad, John, but I made a personal best. I just started off with a 15-minute one. I just did a 15-minute one because I just felt I didn't want to kill myself. I did do a warm-up, as you had suggested, so I definitely did the warm-up beforehand, but it was amazing. And there is no question that it's something I will incorporate every week now into my workout. So that is recommendation number 1. And more so, I did Ben Oldis. It was, what I loved about it was it actually was for somebody doing a Tabata for the first time. And when I picked it, I wasn't even aware of that, but he spoke about it being, a Tabata for folks for the first time. So I do encourage you, if you're going to try it, go for that one, because it was a good first Tabata ride, but certainly more of a recommendation, just do it. Trust yourself and go out there and try it.
And,
my second,
And how many bangers were on that playlist?
Music was amazing. But I always know with Ben, I'm going to get on a ride and the music's going to be incredible. That is one thing I have to say. But there were tons of bangers, and I did love how Peloton actually did that this week.
Put
right?
that that little montage.
With all, I guess they all say it. This is the song. My second has to be my Milestone ride. But you know what? I figured if I could do Tabata, and I was kind of looking at my rides, and I had done this on Monday, and Tuesday was going to be 1350. So Leanne had a hit ride. So boy, I really did tackle the tough ones this week. But I did a 30-minute hit, which was incredible. And you know what? It all comes down to the music. The music on that ride, and I've said this now for weeks. I mean, I always bring up Leanne's rides in my picks of the week, but her music song choice is phenomenal. Absolutely incredible, and I did amazing. I didn't make a PB on that ride, but I was pretty close. I mean, I really was pretty close. Loved riding with the community, and I highly recommend it. So it was Tuesday, April the 17th, I believe. I'm so bad with dates, but I know that Chris will have it up here, so we'll be able to see that on there. But yep, it was from the 13th. My apologies. Oh, there we go. Got an amazing shout out, and she's just so lovely. She's so lovely. And then lastly, my last pick of the week, I'm going back to meditation. I did a post-ride 5-minute meditation with Cody, and I needed it, and it was fantastic. And I actually hit a milestone, a real milestone on my meditation this week. I hit 200 meditations on Thursday. So I've really incorporated that into my workout, routine. But I'm so thrilled that you had encouraged me to try these Cody 5 minutes because, I got off that HIIT ride exhausted, and it was just lovely to be able to just kind of do it and feel great about it. So those are my 3 picks of the week.
Those are good ones. Nice.
Yeah,
well,
thanks.
I just have 2 this week.
All right, tell us.
So I have a 45-minute mixtape ride with Jen Sherman. So she just started her mixtape series last weekend. And the mixtape series, there's different themes each week. So she might do a cover theme of all covers of various songs, or maybe all live versions. So last week's, the theme was guilty pleasures. So she had a mix of Spin Doctors, Miley Cyrus, Miley Cyrus's Party in the USA, a random song from the 90s band, early 2000s band Creed, NSYNC, I think she played It's Gonna Be Me, Rick Springfield, Jesse's Girl. My favorite track off of that was, there's always one song that always gets me, that always stands out. So the standout song in that playlist for me was Milli Vanilli's Blame It on the Rain, which is a great she even said it's not even a guilty pleasure, it's just a great tune. And right. She did it during upper body, during weights, which the tempo of the song works great. So that was just a lot of fun to do to weights. She included Summer of '69 Bryan Adams, which to me is not a guilty pleasure. It's just a great song. But that was a really fun track to hear on that ride. And so this morning, her mixtape is 60 minutes. As of right now, we don't know the theme. She's going to announce it tomorrow. She's going to announce it, before this episode airs, so we don't know it yet. But a lot of fun. It really felt like one of her epic sing-alongs, which is another great ride series, because you just want to belt out the lyrics to every tune. Yeah. So great ride. If you've never ridden with Jen Sherman, JSS, I make no secrets, she's my absolute favorite instructor. She swears, she plays great music, she takes great pride in her playlists, and she just tells it like it is. She speaks her mind, but she wears her heart on her sleeve. So if you've never ridden with her, give her a shot. She's just an amazing coach, and she's the very first instructor that Peloton hired. So she is a true OG in every sense of the word.
John, I'm going to interrupt you. Because I've said this before. I am so appreciative that you kind of got me back into her, because that has become my Sunday mornings. And I did the mixtape ride. I knew you were going to use that as your pick, so I left it for you. But it truly was amazing. Milli Vanilli was actually the very first live concert I went to see knowing that they. Can you believe that? I had just come to America. It was before I even came. When I had gotten married, I was here as a student, and it was the first live concert. Because back in South Africa, then 30 odd years ago, you didn't see anything like that. They were my first live concert, and then 6 months later, I found out that it was all they were lip syncing, and I'm like, okay, seriously. But
what venue? Where did you see them?
It was in DC. So it was
Merriweather Post Pavilion.
It actually wasn't. It was at back then it was called the Verizon Center. Now it's the Capital One Arena. But it was at the Verizon Center, many, many years ago. But that was my one. But then I have to say, Jen does an amazing job. And I love, the timing's great because it's at 9:30 on a Sunday morning. And even if it's 60 minutes, it still gets me time to do the ride, do a cool down, and get on live to watch the show with all you folks that do watch the premiere with us at 11 o'clock. So it works out perfectly. But that's become my Sunday mornings. Interestingly enough, Leanne now has a 7 a.m. ride on a Sunday morning. So I actually get up at 6:30, do the 7 a.m. ride, and then go back on at 9:30, which is great. I love it. Sundays are my days, for putting in as much as I can on the bike. So that was fun. But yeah, awesome choice. Awesome choice as the pick of the week.
Well, it's funny, back pre-pandemic, the regular Peloton schedule where there were so many classes packed next to each other, Jen would always teach Sunday mornings 2 back-to-back rides, a 9 a.m. for 45 minutes and then a 10 a.m. right after that for 60 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how she would do it so quickly back-to-back like that, but amazing stamina. But sometimes I would do those 2 rides back-to-back with barely any time in between to recover. And I would just be exhausted. But those were just I miss the old schedule, like Tuesdays with Jen. She had her set classes Wednesday. She would teach Thursday night. So I'm looking forward to getting back to the normal schedule, I guess, that we're used to.
Yeah.
Where there was just so much more packed in there. But hopefully we'll get back to there one day. But anyway, so my other class is a 45-minute tread boot camp with my boy Andy Spear. This one is 80s themed, movie soundtrack themed. So I love movies, especially from classic comedies from the 80s. So this one is just a ton of fun. Boot camp, I can't recommend boot camps enough for incorporating that strength that I know I need to do more of because I don't do really any standalone strength classes. I'm always just about riding or running, but getting the attention span to add in the extra strength, it makes it easier when it's already mixed in with the cycling or the running. So this boot camp was it's so much fun. Andy, he's kind of a cornball. He's doing, making 80s references, but I love him. But this one has basically wall-to-wall 80s movie music. So you've got hits from Caddyshack, Ferris Bueller, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, American Psycho, Beverly Hills Cop, Goonies, Rocky, the movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise, which I love. That's a guilty pleasure movie with Tom Cruise. They play Kokomo from Beatles. That's probably my favorite track from the workout because it's just a great song. And Top Gun, obviously, Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone. You got to get that in there. But super fun strength class, not too hard, but it just flies by because you're reminiscing about all these classic, at least that I grew up with, in the 80s, seeing all these movies on VHS tape because I was probably too young to see most of these in the theater when they came out. But just a super fun class. And Andy Spear's great with the 80s stuff, with the 80s themed workouts. That's
awesome.
it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great picks. Yep. So hopefully again, we can kind of, veer out a little bit. I did actually, Friday, I did actually run. I got back on the tread and I wanted to catch up. On that Bieber run that Matt Wilpers did.
With Matt, yeah.
Did you do it? You did it, right?
I did. I don't even think all I did was a boot camp. I was kind of slacking on the tread this week.
Yeah, no, so I guess it was from last week, so I didn't do it as a pick.
Yeah.
But I did actually do it, and it was fantastic, really, and I did great on the tread, so I was really happy. I've said it before, I do need to be cautious because I do have back issues, so we'll see how the next few days pan out. But I did it on Friday morning, and it was fantastic, and it was nice to kind of do something different. So yeah, and again, I thank you for that because you had been saying how you'd been jumping on the tread, more and trying to divvy up between the bike and the tread, and I think it is important to try different platforms and do different things. So that was fun for me. Yeah. So right. I guess that pretty much wraps it all up, right, John?
That does it.
Good. Well, hopefully this was just the right amount of time for you folks this week, and that we kind of got in everything we needed to get in as far as the news went. Of course, you all know that you can head over to the Pelo Buddy website for more information on anything we reported today on the show. So don't hesitate to do that. And yeah, go ahead and make sure that you leave comments and whether they're good or bad, or recommendations. We always love to hear. And we are working on, I know I promised that we'd have something for this week to do an interview. We are working on trying to get folks back on. So it's just been busy. It's just been busy the last few weeks. So I think that maybe post Homecoming, when hopefully things will slow down in the Peloton news world, we'll be able to incorporate an interview here or there, because I know you folks do like to hear the interviews. So we'll make sure that we get those back on there.
All right.
Yeah. So I guess from me here in Maryland, bye for now.
And from me in Michigan, we will see you all on the leaderboard, and bye for now as well.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Pelo Buddy TV podcast, your resource for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us on the leaderboard using the Pelo Buddy TV tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode.